right? So what you are writing, suppose I'm writing one string saying that some h2. Okay. So using which method here? Write method. So this heading is written by using which method? Write method. Document dot write. So what document dot write is, right? Document dot write. Write one heading or not? Yes. It means what you are doing, you are adding some content within the document or write. You are adding content within the document or not? Yes. But how you are adding the content within the document? By using document dot write. But rather than reading element and modifying, generally rather than reading element and what? Modifying. Like suppose in the previous example, what we did, in the previous example, now I created one paragraph, and the idea of this paragraph is what here? P1. But this content of this paragraph is what? Empty. Now you want to write something within the paragraph. You want to write something within the paragraph. Then you are getting the reference of which one? Element. By saying document dot get element by ID. So you are trying to get the element whose ID is what? P1. And then after that you are saying element dot element. What is the element here? This element is nothing but which one? Paragraph. What is this element here? See here. Document dot get element by ID. And what is this element here? Paragraph. So element dot, what you are doing, you are trying to say, what you are saying? Inner HTML, and you are trying to write the content. What you are writing? Content, right? So what is the content? Again, string only. This is what here? Paragraph. So this is what here? Paragraph. This is what we are doing in the previous class, right? What we are doing, we are trying to write inside a paragraph. We are trying to write inside a paragraph. Now this is which one? Paragraph. Okay. It means you are modifying the content of the paragraph by getting the element and you are doing. But is it this is modifying or adding? Adding. Means dynamically you are adding one more. See, dynamic means you either you modify the content of existing or you may add what? New. You can modify the content of existing or you can add which one? New. That you can call it as which one? Dynamic only. Okay, dynamic HTML means modifying the content of which one? HTML page. Either by adding some new tags, either modifying what? Content of the existing. But if you want to add a new content, you are using document dot write. So this method is used to write a string into a web page or what? Document. Anything you can write it. For example, I just write here document dot write. Document dot write. So I'm just adding which tag? Anchor. Okay. Yes. I just write now something like this. http://www dot some nareshid.com. Okay. Now this is a tag. And here I'm saying Naresh IT. And I close this anchor tag by giving close. Right. So using document dot write, you're trying to write one tag here. What is the tag here? Anchor. If I click on this, I just open which one? Naresh. Okay. So you can add the content within the document. You can add the content within the document by using which one? Document dot write. But you can also add content by reading a node also. We'll see that later. But this is document dot write. This is document dot write. Okay. But suppose assume that, for example, yes, this is basic. Now this method is used to write a string into which one? Web page or in what? Document. Because document refers to the current document or not? Yes. Document refers to the current document where you are writing one string. But you are representing everything within double quotes because it is used for writing which one? String. Suppose assume that, okay, suppose assume that I'm taking one, okay, suppose assume that I'm taking one button. So input type equal to button and value equal to which one? Some click. Okay, value equal to click on. I'm saying on click. On click, I'll try to call one function here. The function which is written inside what? JavaScript. Okay, the function which is written inside the JavaScript, but I'm writing before calling it. Now should be written before calling it. So I'm writing a function. So function, and what is the name of the function? Display. What is the name of the function? Display. I'm calling one function, and what is the name of the function here? Display is the name of the function. Sorry, display is the name of the function. Okay, so this is a function what you are calling when you click on the button. So what I'm doing here, document dot write. Okay, document dot write, and this is h2. Okay, so this is, okay, this content is using, this content is using which one? Function. Okay, but this function you are writing in which one? JavaScript. So this function you are writing in which one? JavaScript. What is the function you called? What is the function you called? Display function. Okay, but before this, add one heading. So h2. Okay, so this is, okay, this is dynamic HTML test. Okay, this is dynamic HTML test. Okay, right. When this function is called, when you click on the button called which one? Click. When this function is called, when you click on the button called which one? Click. So when you click on this button, now what happened? This content is using which one? Function. Now you have to aware of this. Document.write is always write in what? New page. Getting on not? Okay. Document.write, write in which one? New page. But because, see here, now when you see this previous one, this is the page, right? But is it right in the same document? No. If I click on this, is it right in the same or new? New. Getting on or see, if you are doing it dynamically, if you are doing it what? Dynamically. But here, in the previous example, is it this is dynamic or static? Static. In the previous example, is it dynamic or static? Static. What will happen first? It will display JavaScript HTML DOM, and then it will execute the content of what? Script, where it is write one heading, where it is write one heading, and after that you are getting the element by ID, and within that element you are trying to add which one? Paragraph, and within the document you write what? Narration. It means, is it this is static or dynamic? Static. Means this complete thing is executed on loading or not? Yes, this complete thing is executed on loading. On loading of the page, is it complete thing is executed or rendered or not? Yes, but I want to add the content when I perform certain operation. Then when you say click, when you click on this button, you are calling which function here? Display function. But this display function is writing this heading in what? Document. But is it writing inside a current document here? No. Is it previous content is deleted or not? Yes. Means document dot write. Whenever you use document dot write, it will try to write in one, or it will try to write in one new document. Okay, if it is a static, it will write in the same document, refers to the same document. But if it is dynamic, it will write into a new document. Now remember this. So this is an example here. Okay, so for that you are using document dot write. Yes. So you can create one new page. You can create a new page here. For example, okay, for example, there is a on click, on click. So on click, so on click. Now assume that this is, so there is one button. Okay, there is one button. And what is the name of this button? Okay, assume that there is a button called which one? Sign up. What is the name of this button? Sign up. Then I'm calling one function. What is the name of the function I'm calling? Sign up function I'm calling. On click is the attribute. On click is the attribute, or you'll say on click is the event. On click is the attribute, or on click is what here? Event. So when there is an event called on click, it will call which function? Sign up. Okay, we'll discuss about this, how to handle the events. But just to try to understand, on click is an event. When there is an event, it will call which function? Sign up function. But the sign up function is generating one page dynamically. Generally, you don't do like this, but I'm just telling you because okay, how to generate the content dynamically. Okay, now here I'm saying document dot write. So what I'm writing, there is what here? Form. What is this here? Form. If you want, you can give the form name. Okay, now. Then after this, I'm saying document dot write. Document dot document dot write. Document dot write. What you are taking one more element. What is that element? Label. Okay, you can use which one? Label. You are creating a label for which one? Username. And you are creating a label for which one? Password. Or you can just give document dot write. So there is a write. What I'm writing here? I'm writing which one here? Name. I'm writing one string called name. Okay. Document dot write. What I'm writing here? Username. Okay. So document dot write. This content is generated how? Dynamic. Document dot write. What you are writing here? Password. But are you write any input fields here? You have to define even input fields. Now, if I click on sign up, now name, username, and one more is password. But is it right in the same line or new line? Same line. Can I use write ln or not? Yes, write is there. And there is one more function is there. One more method is there. And what is that method here? Write ln. Okay, so there is one more. What is that here? Write. There's one more which is called as a write ln. So write ln. Okay, once I click on sign up, what is it written in the same line or new line? Same line or new line? Same line only, because whenever you are writing in HTML, always if you want to insert a new line, you just use which one? Break. Always use which one? Break. But is it this is write line is writing in the new line or same line? Same line only. Now this is name, username as well as what? Password. But when you are writing a text, you might find the difference between write and what is that? Write line. So in this case, is it any difference between the write and write line? No. So name, username and password. Now you want to write. Okay, document dot write. You can say what is this now? Input type. Input type equal to which one? Text. Name equal to which one? Name only. Okay, name equal to name. Now this is one input field. Is it this is input field or not? Yes. And this is dynamic. Okay, now there is one input field you have. There is one input field you have, because here I have given break. I just remove the break here. So there is one input field you have. This is an input field called which one? Name. Okay, then username. So in the next line, right? Now in the next line, what is this? Username. I just put one break here. Username. But I'll say document dot write. just write input field, input type equal to which one again? Text. Name equal to which one? User name. Okay. Yes. Now in this case, now sign up. Now this is name and this is what here? User name. So one is a name and one more is a user name. But this content is static or dynamic? Dynamic. Okay. So then again, I'll say document dot, right? Okay. But for just for example purpose, I have taken, but generally you don't write like this. Okay, now. So input type equal to password, name equal to password. Okay, right. So what will happen in this case? It will try to create one more field, which is nothing but which one? Password. Now this is a name and this is username and this is what here? Password. But this content is static or dynamic? Dynamic. When you click on which button?
Recording in progress.
Which is used for dynamic HTML. Okay. Then next we'll talk about, okay, next we'll talk about, okay, the important usage of, okay, JavaScript. The important usage of JavaScript is not only dynamic content generation, not only dynamic content generation, it is also used for which one here? Form validations. Not only changing the content dynamically, but it is also used for changing the form validations. Changing the form validations, right? How can you write form details? You cannot write it. So you have to include one HTML. Okay, you cannot write directly. Okay, you cannot write directly. How can you write directly? You cannot write directly. So let us talk about form validations. So one of the important usage of JavaScript is form validations. So important, one of the important usage or usage of JavaScript is form validations. So what is form validation? What is form validation? What is form validation? What form contain? Input data. Within form, what do you input? Data. Within form, you input data. Before submitting this data to the server, before submitting this data to what? Server, you have to validate whether input data is correct or not. So that you can call it as what here? Form validation. Okay. So form validation. Now before submitting data, before submitting data to server, before submitting data to server, or before manipulating data, before manipulating data, verifying input data is valid or not. Before submitting data to server or before manipulating data, verifying input data is valid or not is called which one? Form validation. Form validation. For example, before giving username and password, I cannot submit, right? Before submitting username and password, I have to input username and what? Password, right? So without entering username and password, I cannot submit the form. I cannot submit the form. See, I fill the data. For example, you have a user registration form. What is there here? User registration form. User registration form is there. And user registration form, okay, you input some data. What data you input? Name. What data you input? Username. What data you input? Password. You input name, username, and password. After giving name and username and password, you just click on which one? Sign up. But suppose I don't enter any data, I just click on what? Sign up. Is it allowed? Message immediately, name is required, username is required, password is what? Required. Required, that is what here? That is nothing but which one here? Validation. Required is nothing but that is called which one? Validation. In the same way, okay, you try to fill some form here. You try to fill some form. Now person details, there is a name and there is what here? Age. Okay, suppose age is there. Age should be between 18 to, okay, 18 to what? Some 100. Age should be between 18 to what? 100. But if I give the age below 18 or above 100, is it allowed or not allowed? Not allowed. It should not allow that. You call it as which one? Validation. Validation means, is it input data is correct or is it input data is correct or not? That you can call it as which one? Validation. But this form validations can be done at client side. These validations can be done at client side. These validations can be done at what? Server side. Okay. So this form validations can be, okay, can be done at, form validations can be done at which side here? Client side. And this form validations can be done at which one? Server side. So there is a client side validations and there is a server side validations. So what is the difference between the client side validations and server side validations? Okay, now suppose if you want to validate the data before submitting to which one? A program which is there at which side? Server side. Because sending data to the server and server side program receiving it and doing validation, that might take what? Lot of time. And not only that, there is a chance of intruders might send some wrong information to which one? Server, right? To avoid that, you may do the validation before sending data to which one? Server. And that you can call it as which validation? Client side. Client side validation. So there are two validations here. One is client side validation. Client side validation. Client side validation. So validating data. Okay. So validating data before sending to which program? Server program is called which validation? Client side validation. This client side validation is done in two ways. Two approaches are there to do this validation. This client side validation is done using two approaches. One is, okay, by using HTML attributes. HTML5 provides some attributes. Okay. And second one is by using which one? JavaScript. By using which one here? JavaScript. So this validation can be done in two ways. This validation can be done in two ways, right? One is Okay, one is, okay, you can. So one is by using an attributes of which one? HTML5, and other one is using JavaScript. Because HTML5, for example, input elements are there. Suppose input elements, it provides some attributes like required, and it provides the attributes called minimum as well as what? Maximum. These are the attributes provided in what? HTML5. But suppose I want to do the validations according to my business requirements. I want to do the validations according to my business requirements. Then how can you do that validations? By writing which one? JavaScript. By writing which one? JavaScript. But HTML5 also provides some attributes. Like suppose if you are working with the input types, you find required. This field is required, and then you'll try to define what is what is a minimum value, what is a minimum value, what is a maximum value, and even you can validate the input by using which one? By using which one? Patterns, where you apply what? Regular pattern, where you apply what? Regular expression. Okay, where you apply which one? Regular expression. For example, name should be given in which letters? Capital letters. Name should be given in which letters? Capital letters. Then you apply which one? Pattern. Age should be minimum this, maximum this. Then I'll try to use the attribute called minimum and maximum. Suppose name is required, username is required, password is what? Required. Then I simply say required. But other than this, if you want to apply some other logics, then how you perform that? By using some code inside what? JavaScript. So how you do this client-side validations? By using the attributes of the input elements, and second one is by using which one? JavaScript. That is done with the help of which one? Client-side validation. But there is a server-side validation which is not preferable. Okay, now because this will increase the traffic, right? Because it should send the data to the server, and server should verify is it input this data is valid or not. Server should verify is it this input data is valid or not. But generally server side programs not verify the data. Server side programs will process the data. It will not. Server side programs not verify, means no validation is checked at what? Server side. Server side program will read the data and perform operations. That's it. For example, you are doing some, for example, user registration is there. What server side program will do? It will just take the user details and store in database. But it will not check is it username is entered or password is length is this. No, that is done at which side? Client side only. Is it username is entered in capital letters? Is it name is entered in small letters? No, that is not checked by which program? Server side program. That is done by which program? Client side program only, before sending the data to the server. Okay, so server side validations. So there is a server side validations also there. Okay, so server side, it means server side means there will be one program at which side? Server side. In server side validation, in server side, server will not do any validation. Server side validation means the program which is there at what? Backend. Okay, server is the backend or not? Yes. Okay, your browser is a your browser is client, your server is what? Server. Okay, it's the backend. Is the backend. Server side program. Server side program receive data input by who's this here? Client. Server side program receive data input by client. After receiving data, it perform validations, which is called this is called as which one? Server side. But generally you never do which validation? Server side validations. Don't do server side validations, because that will decrease the performance of your application, right? So that's the reason. Is it this is preferable or not preferable? Not a preferable. So for this, you use languages set which side? Server side. What server side programs are written in what? Java. Server side programs are written in what? .NET. Server side programs are written in what? Python. Server side programs are written in so many languages. Okay. So Java means what? Servlet. Okay. Servlets or JSP. Java means what here? Servlets. Servlets are what is that? JSP. C sharp means what? You'll be using which one? ASP.NET or ASP. So Python means you'll use some frameworks like Django or what is that here? Flask like this. So these are how you do validations at which side? Server side. Okay now? Right. But not preferable. Okay, first we'll see client-side validations by using which attributes? HTML5 attributes. So HTML5 provides some attributes. Okay, validations are required to give valid input or not. Yes. You submit the form. Whatever details you enter in the form, it should be valid or not. Yes. You cannot enter whatever you want it. Okay, so you have to input valid data. If it is because are you giving to a person? If it is given to a person, suppose in college, you fill the form and give it to a person who's there in the college, right? He'll check is it all the details are entered properly or not. If any detail is not entered, he'll give the form back. He'll give the form back and say that fill it. He'll give the form back and say fill this data. This is entered wrong. But here, how are giving to any person? No. You are giving to a person. Which person? The program which is there at which side? Server side. But before sending the data to the server, you are verifying it. Is it this input data is valid or not? So that is where JavaScript come into the picture, right? So this is one of the important thing related with which one? JavaScript. Now client side. So client side validations using input attributes. Okay, but this is from HTML5. But before HTML5, you do everything by using which one? JavaScript only. Okay, before HTML5, you do everything using what? JavaScript only. But in HTML5, there are some predefined attributes are there. Okay, input attributes. So what are these input attributes you have? Like suppose HTML5. This is an HTML5, right? HTML5. There is an attribute called which one? Required attribute is there. See here. Input required attribute. What it is doing, it is verifies. The required attribute is a Boolean attribute, which when present, it specifies that an input field must be filled or before submitting the form. Okay, no, the required attribute work with the following input types. What is that input types? Text, search, URL, telephone, email, password, date picker, number, checkbox, radio button, and one more is the file. Getting on. So what is the name of the attribute? Required. But this is only in HTML5. Okay, so first one is required attribute. First attribute is the required attribute of input type is a text and all other things here. So the required attribute is a Boolean attribute. The required attribute is a Boolean attribute, right? Yes. The required attribute is a Boolean attribute when present in specifies that input field must be filled out before submitting the form. Before submitting the form. So, okay. Now I'm creating one form here. So there is a form now. Okay. So you are not writing any JavaScript code here. Okay. Now you are not writing any JavaScript code, but you are just using which one? Form. Okay, form action. So when action is get executed, when you click on submit button. When action get executed, when you click on submit button, right? So here I try to create one. What I'm creating? Table. I'm creating one table, and here I'm defining the style. So what is the style here? Border. So I'm writing here border. So there is a border. So border is I'm taking it as how many pixels? 1 pixel, right? So table is there, and within the table, now I'm just writing table row, and there is a table data. What is this here? Name. Okay. Input type. Sorry. Input type. Input type equal to what here? Text. And name equal to name. And what I'm saying here? Required. What I said here? Required. So which one is required here? Name is required. So table data. Now TD. Then again, this is what? Username. This is a username. And next one is input type. Just I take input type. Input type equal to text, and name equal to which one? User. And this is also what here? Required. Sorry. Okay. This is also required. So this is another row. So this is one more which is called as a password. Okay. So input type equal to which one? Password. And name equal to password. Name equal to password. And this is also which one? Required. See here. Then so input type. Now you can take call span here. So input type equal to which one? Submit. Value equal to sign up. Value equal to which one? Sign up. Okay, right? Now this is the form. Okay, this is what here? Form. Okay? Yes. Now when you run this, okay, when you run this form, now you can see the name, username, password, and one more is what? Sign up. I just click on sign up. Now, is it required or not? Yes. So immediately saying, please fill out this field. Okay. Now I'll try to fill the name. This is a name is entered. Then if I say sign up, but remaining things are required or not? Yes. Remaining things also what here? Required. Okay. Remaining things also what here? Required. Required means is it complete data is required or not? Yes. Okay, suppose I enter this, fill this data is saying refresh. So I enter this password, I click on sign up. Which one is required? Name is required. You have to refresh this. Okay, now, right? Yes. So required means is it values required or not? Yes. For that, you are using a field called which one? Required. Required is a field. What is the name of the field here? Required. So you can take division. So you can put one division. So this is a division, right? You can write this, sorry, table inside a division. Okay, so this is the beginning. and you can what you can do, style. So style division. So which is which selector here? Text selector. Okay. Yes. So I'm writing here. Okay. Style. What I have taken here, style, right? So which I'm writing in the header. So style division. And here I'm trying to use what I'm using, align items. Align items in what? Center. So division. Alignment is what here? Center. So now you want this table. What I want is, I want the table. Applied or not applied. Align items. So how many items are there? Only one, right? What is the item here? You have table. You can use this. So float also you can use, right? Float or what you have different alignments, right? Align content. Align content, which one here? Center. Just here. Okay, right? But here this is required. Okay, no problem. But what is my intention is, I want to align this table in what? Center. I want this table is in what? Center. Because of that, I'm trying to apply one style. Because of that, I'm trying to apply one style. Okay, I just use a center. This also you can apply. Okay, now, yes. Alignment, center. This also you can apply, no problem, right? So instead of using a style, right, you can just use an attribute called which one? Center. No problem. But this is an attribute called which one? Required. This is an attribute called required. So required a value or not? Yes. But are you writing any code for checking is it this values input or not? No. You are simply using required. Okay, there is one more attribute is there in HTML5. So that is nothing but minimum, comma, what is that? Maximum. Okay, there are two more attributes are there for input, and one is a minimum, and one more is which? Minimum and
Recording in
maximum both.
progress.
Specify minimum value of an input element. Use a minimum attribute together with a maximum attribute to create a range of legal values. The maximum and minimum attributes works with the following input types, that is number, range, date, time, and one more is what? Week. Just to see here. In this case, now same thing I'm taking. What is of name? There is a name is there. Name is required. Next one is which one? Age. So here I take a age, but in the place of which one? In the place of username, I've taken age, and age is which type? Age is which type? Is a number and it is required. Age is required. Okay, now age is required. and it is which type here? Number. Input type is what here? Number. Input type is a number. So I try to input the name. Okay, name is input, but age. Age is which type? Number. So I should give the minimum as well as what? Maximum. Refresh this. Refresh this. Enter the name and sign up. Oh. But I need to define the minimum as well as what here? Maximum. Okay. Input the name and sign up, right? So define the maximum and minimum. Input type number and name equal to which one here? Age. And then required. So there is a minimum. So what is the minimum I'm saying here? 18. Minimum is 18. The value minimum is 18. And maximum, I'm just giving it as what? 100. So what is the minimum value I can input? 18. And what is the maximum value I can input? 100. Okay, that is minimum and maximum. So that is the minimum and maximum value input inside this. Okay, sign up, refresh this. Okay. So this is a name and I have not input this. What I should input? For example, age. But I'm trying to give the age as a, okay, assume that 10. I've just given 10, right? But it is given value must be greater than or equal to what? 18. But if I try to input the values of 105, then value must be less than or equal to what? 100. Okay, now. So that is a minimum and one more is what? Maximum. Minimum and maximum. That is defined by using an attribute called min as well as maximum, right? So this is only for which field? Number field. This is only for which field? Number field. There is one more attribute is there. There is one more attribute is there. Now this is required and there is a minimum and there is a maximum and there is also an attribute called which one? Pattern. There is also an attribute called which one? Pattern is there. Okay, this pattern is used to match. Input value is matched with this pattern or not. To verify input value is matched with the given pattern or not. But here the pattern is defined. This pattern is defined using which one? Regular expressions. Okay. This pattern is defined by using which one? Regular expressions. This pattern is defined by using regular expression, right? So pattern is one more attribute. So these attributes are there only in HTML5. So what is the name of the attribute? HTML5. Which attribute here? Pattern attribute. Okay. So what does HTML5 add? Yes. The pattern attribute is an attribute of a text, telephone, email, URL, password, and search input types. The pattern attribute, when specified, is a regular expression which the input value must match with the value pass constraint validation. Okay. But here, how you are defining this pattern? By representing it as which expression? Regular expression. But this can be applied to different input types. Like you can check input, what is that? Mobile number validation, date validation, time validation, or password validation. Okay, you can apply it to the text. You can apply it to what? Telephone. You can apply it to what? Email. You can apply it to what? URL. You can apply it to what? Password also. All these inputs type, you can apply which one? Pattern. For example, input type is the text is there. For example, input type is text. Okay, suppose name is there. Assume that name is there. I want the name should be given only in which letters? Capital letters, right? I want the name should be given in which letters here? Capital letters, right? So name is required and here I'm saying pattern. So I have to define the pattern, right? What is a pattern? Within double quotes, or single quotes, whatever it is, but the pattern should be represented as one string. Pattern should be represented as what? A string. And where I want it should be represented in which letters? Uppercase. Uppercase, right? Then I'm using one group. The group is defined by using square brackets. Okay, this square brackets is called as one set. Square bracket is called as which one? Set of which one should be there? Alphabets from A to Z. Now input pattern should contain capital letters from A to Z, and that can be repeated how many times? I'm just using here plus is there. Plus means what here? Repetitions. This alphabets can be repeated either one or more than one time. So plus means one or more than one time. So within the square brackets, I just define the pattern saying that A to Z. It should allow only which letters? Capital letters, and that can be repeated either one or more than one time. One or more than one time it is. Okay. Yes. So name. Name should be given in capital letters. Suppose I give in small letters and sign up. Now see here, please match the requested format. Which format I've given? Capital letters. Can I write A? Yes. Now is it allowed or not allowed? Allowed. Getting or not? But is it allowed any other format? No. Suppose if I enter small letters or if I enter numbers, is it number is allowed? No. It doesn't match with the input. Yeah, input which one? Format. Okay. So you are trying to define that by using which one? Patterns. For example, age is there. Age should be given only numbers. Age should be only numbers, right? Okay, numbers like date is there. Date format or email format is there. Email. Okay, suppose again I write yes. So this is name and one more is which one? Email. Okay, input type. Input type equal to which one? Email. Input type is email. Email is having one predefined format or not? Yes. I just write here email. But I have not defined any format here. Is it pattern? Email pattern is defined or not defined? Not defined. Okay. Email pattern is defined or not defined? Not defined. But email is itself is one type or not? Yes. I try to input the name in capital letters and I just write email by just giving Naresh IT. That's it. I've just written Naresh IT and if I say sign up, is it given a message or not? Yes. Please include which one? At the rate. Please include at the rate in the email address. Naresh IT is missing. Which one here? At the rate. Okay, now I'll say at the rate. What I'll say at the rate? I'll say at the rate. And then if I say sign up, again it is saying that Naresh IT at the rate. Is it complete or incomplete? Incomplete. Then I'll say some Gmail dot. Gmail dot I said, but is it dot followed by one more or not? Yes. Okay, then I'll say gmail.com. Now, is it allowed or not allowed? Yes. But is it this validation is a predefined or user defined? Predefined validation because email itself is having one pattern. Email itself is having one pattern, right? Email itself is having one pattern. Password itself is having one pattern. Now, you don't require to define the pattern for that. Okay, now? Yes. See here. Now, email is already there. Now, telephone number. So, telephone is having already one predefined format or not? Yes, predefined what? Pattern. Even password also having predefined pattern. But suppose if you want to build your own patterns, like for example, email is there, and then assume that, any pattern, you want to create your own patterns, right? For example, assume that, assume that, assume that, so I just take one element here, Okay. So name is there and one more is a email. Next is assume that there is a there is a date of birth is there. Date of birth is there. Okay. There is a date of birth. So there is a name and there is an email and one more is which one? Date of birth is there. So date of birth, I'm taking this as input type. Input type equal to which one? Date. But date is having predefined format or not? Yes. Is it required to check any validation here? No. I'll just say date of birth. This is date of birth, right? Date of birth. Once I run this, you can see this is a predefined format. What is this? MMDD and YY. Y and Y. So is it having predefined format or not? Yes. I just select the date of birth. And just select the date of birth and click on which one? Sign up. You have to give this. Okay. Click on sign up. But you have to give name, email as well as, but email is required. Did I say required? No. You have to write here email. Email is which one? Email is what? Required. And date of birth is what here? Required. Date of birth is required. Name is also this pattern and it is also which one? Required. Getting or not? But suppose there is a time is there, date of birth is there, and one more is a time is there. Okay, there is a time. There is a date of date of birth time. Date of birth time. So I'll say input type equal to what now? Is it time is there? Input type equal to which one? Time. Suppose if I'm saying input type equal to time, time is there or not there? There. So this time will take again by default. Now this is date of birth, which one? Time. There is a time is there. Now this will display name, email, date of birth and date of birth, time. But time is given in what? Hours and time is given in what? Hours and minutes. Hours and what is that? Minutes. But suppose assume that time, suppose I want to input the time in hours, minutes as well as what? Seconds. I want to input the time in hours, minutes and what? Seconds. Then is it this time is displaying in hours, minutes and seconds or only hours and minutes? Hours and minutes. But I want in hours, minutes and seconds. Then what do you do it? Then what do you do it? You take the input type. Input type as which one? Text. You take the input type as which one? Text. And then you define. What do you define now? Pattern. You define the pattern. Pattern you define. What is a pattern you're defining? There is a set or you can use. For example, you are using a pattern like \d. \d is nothing but here this indicates the digits. \d indicates what here? Digits. Digits from where? 0 to 9. \d represents what? Digits from 0 to 9. Now this digit should be repeated how many times here? 2 times. Exactly 2 times. That you are representing within curly braces. Repeat these digits how many times here? 2 times. Or you can represent digits like within the square bracket. You can define the 9. This digit should be repeated from 0 to 9 how many times? 2 times. And then followed by which one? Colon. Then again 0 to 9. This digit should be repeated how many times? 2 times. And then colon. Again I'm saying 0 to 9. And this digit should be repeated how many times again? 2 times. Now what is this pattern here? This is hours, minutes and one more is what? Seconds. Now I just defined one pattern. Now this pattern should match it. Okay, this pattern should what here? Match it. So that is date of birth time. Once you run this, you can see there is a this is predefined, but this is what here? User defined. Okay, now I just enter the name. Name should be given in what? Capital. Okay, then some Naresh @nareshit.com, and this can be called as a date of birth, and this is date of birth time. So time should be given or not? Yes, but are you given required? No, you are not said you are required. Just write required. Is it this field is required or not? Yes. If you don't input the value before submitting, then again it gives what? Error. So always you try to refresh to verify it. Is the input value is done or not done? So you should use some characters. You should use some special characters to define which one here pattern, right? So now I try to input the name and I try to input what? Email. I try to input what? Date of birth. Then I try to input, suppose 10, I just input 10, right? And if I say sign up, this should be given in which letters? Capital letters, right? This should be given in capital letters because I said this pattern should be in what? Capital letters. Okay. And then input this one. And I've not entered date of birth. Now fill out this field. But if I'm saying only 10, if I say only 10, is it please match the requested format? If I say only 10 colon, if I say 10 colon, but again, please match the requested format. 10 colon, 20 colon. I said what? 30. This is hours, minutes, and this is what here? Seconds. Now is it data submit or not? Yes. So you can define your own pattern by using which one? Regular expression. So this is by using an attributes. This is by using an attributes provided by which one? HTML5. So this can be done by using HTML5. You can use it, right? Or there are all the things you cannot do it by using attributes provided by which one? HTML5. HTML5, right? For example, input name. For example, input name should be Naresh or Suresh. So that I cannot do it by using pattern, right? Input name should be Naresh or Suresh, but it should not allow any other name. Then that I cannot do it by using which one? Patterns. In that case, I should come back to which one? JavaScript. You have to use JavaScript and then you should read content of it. You have to read the content of it and then you should do what? Validation, right? Yes. Just see. Now form validation using which one? JavaScript. How can you do the form validation using JavaScript? So before doing validation, first you have to read the content of what? Elements. Before doing validation, first you have to read the content of what? Elements. I mean values of input elements. You have to read the values of input elements. Then only you can do what? Validations, right? Then how to read the values of input fields within the JavaScript? How to read values of input fields? How to read values of input fields within what? JavaScript. How to read the values of input field within the JavaScript, right? So for example, yes. So it means without reading the values, see, without reading values, you cannot do it, right? Okay, if you want to validate, you must read the values. What you input inside what? Input fields. Whatever values you enter inside the input fields, you have to read those values, right? And then you have to do some validation, right? Suppose, assume that, okay, सुनो यार, सुनो, छोड़ दो, जुम्मा आज जुम्मा है, आगे, आके क्या करे, వచ్చినవా, ఏమన్నా చేసినవా, ఏం లేదు, ఏముందా, ఏం లేదు, కూర్చున్నావు, తెలుగు వస్తుంది కదా, ఎప్పుడో 1 month బ్యాక్ చూసినా, మళ్ళీ ఇవాళ చూసిన, నేను వస్తున్నా, నేను రోజు వస్తున్నా, నన్ను చెక్ చేయని అవసరం లేదు, नोट्स अपलोड అయితే నేను ఉన్నా అన్నైస్ सही है नहीं, नोट्स अपलोड हुआ बोल रहे थे मैं क्लास चला, अपलोड नहीं हुआ बोले तो क्लास नहीं है, बस उतना है. You don't require to come from where you say stay here, old city, right? हाँ, पंजागुड़ा, wasting time यार. घर में देख लो ना, घर में your parents are not saying don't see mobile, no, देख लो यार. यार आंखा चले जाते हैं यार. हाँ, राइट राइट. डेली बोल बोल के थक गए यार. बट स्टिल यू पीपल आर, yes, no problem. మనం వచ్చింది కాక మళ్ళీ మన అందరినీ నేను మొబైల్ చూస్తున్నా, నువ్వు కూడా చూడు. इस सिंग है मोबाइल, उन्होंने देख रहा और बाजू वालों को बोल रहा देखो देखो बोल के. उन्होंने भी देखता है क्या है, देखा हो बोलता है. तो बाद में दिखा सकते हो किधर रहता है, उधर ही रहता ना, किधर तो भी जाता क्या उन्होंने. Where saved here, we have not sent anywhere. This is only client side, no server side. If you want to save it, you have to save inside a file. Generally you don't save at client side, you save in which side? You send this data to which one? Server side program. That server side program will read the data and save into the database. Okay na? But you don't save anything in client, right? Banking application, when you open the account, what will happen? Suppose Gmail is there, you register where your details are sent to server. The server will store your data into what? Database. Nothing will be saved in what? Client machine, right? Okay. So at client side, only client means what? User interface. There's only a user interface, right? So client means is a thin client. Browser is what? Thin client. By using that, you are communicating with which one? Server. Nothing you store inside what? Client side. Everything you send it to which one? Server. We will store that data into which one? Database or file or anywhere, right? So these are regular expression patterns, but I said these patterns, right, in input validations, right? But again I said this, okay? So how to read? First of all, before doing validation, first you have to read the, right? First you have to read the content. How to read values of input field within JavaScript. How to read values of input field within the JavaScript, right? So this form I'm giving some name. This form I'm giving some name, right? So what is the name of this form is? Some form 1 is there. What is the name of this form? Form 1, right? So this form 1 is there. So after this, what I'm doing, I'm creating some table because I want to do some alignment, right? So I'm creating one table. Okay. I define the border for this, some 2 pixels, right? And then after that, I just create one input field. So there is an input field name. So there is a name. So what you are trying to input here is name. So this is a first column, and this is which one? Second column. So input type is a text and name equal to T1, and default value you want to define, you can define. So default value, but I don't want to define the default value. But if you want, you can define the default value. Okay, fine. So this is where you input the name, but I want to read this name and verify is it this input name is valid or invalid. Input name is valid or invalid. So when if I click on which one? Submit button. So input type. So again I take some tier. So input type equal to which one? Submit. But on submit, now on the form, there is one event is there. What is that? On submit. On submit. See, when you click on submit, right? On submit, I want to check some validation. On submit, I cannot write here. Input type equal to submit. Input type equal to submit and value. So value equal to what again? I'm giving same value. What is the value I've given? Submit. But once you click on the submit, what will happen? This data is submit. This data is submit to one program. How you define that program? Yes, by using which attribute? Action. You define, you want to submit this data to one program. Which program? Server side program. Okay, but before on submit, I want to check whether this input data is valid or not. On submit, I'm calling one function. On submit, I'm calling one function, and this function I'm writing in what? JavaScript. So function. What is the name of the function here? Some function one is there. What is the name of the function? Function one. Okay. Then within function one, within function one, I just write here script. Okay. So within function one, what I have to do? I have to read the value of which field? T1. Within function one, I have to read the value of which one? T1. Okay. I have to read the value of T1. How can I read the value of T1? Document dot which one? Document dot which one? Forms of which form? Which form you are reading? Form what? One dot. Form one dot which one? There is in form one, which field is there? What is the name of this field? T1. T1 dot. Which one you are reading? Value. What you are reading? See, within the document. Within the document, you are searching for which one? Forms. Which form you are looking for? Form 1. And from in form 1, you are looking for which element? T1. And you are reading value of what? T1. So some letter. So there is a variable. What is the name of the variable? Name. What is the name of the variable? Name. Okay. So now you want to display this name. I just use alert here and I display the message called which one? Name. Just to know it whether this value is read or not. So on submit, you are calling which function? Function 1. On submit, you are calling which function? Function 1, you are calling it. Okay. On submit, you are calling the function 1, and within function 1, you are reading the value of T1. Okay. Yes. Yeah, you are reading the value of T1. I just click on submit. And what is the value here? Naresh. So is it this values read within the JavaScript or not? Yes. Okay, then after reading this value, what I have to do? After reading this value, you are displaying it. But what you have to do? You have to verify, is it this input name is valid or not? Is it this input name is valid or not? Then will you write a condition or not? Yes. By saying if name double equal to what? Naresh. Name should be equal to Naresh, or name double equal to which one? Suresh. Name should be equal to Naresh or what? Suresh, but it should not. If it is not equal to, if I'm saying not, how can you check the not here? How can you check the not? By using one keyword. What is the keyword you are using? Not. If the name not Naresh or not Suresh, if the name not Naresh or what? Suresh, you can use not, or you can use not. How you are writing a not? By using which one? Exclamatory. Exclamatory is not right, and or not. So this exclamatory is a not. Then what you are doing? You are displaying one message. What is the message? Alert, input, invalid. Invalid which one? Name. What is the message I displayed? Invalid name is a message, right? Then you have to return that. We'll see that. So I try to input the name here. Name is a keyboard. Name is a keyboard. I said submit. What is the message? Invalid name. Suppose name is a Naresh. Name is a Naresh. If I say submit, is it given any message? No. Getting or not? Okay. So you are reading the value, but how can you read the value within the JavaScript function? You are using document dot forms, and forms will return array or not? Yes. So you are reading with the name. Okay. What is the name? Form 1, and which field you are referring for T1, and you are getting the value of which one? T1 here. Okay. And after that, you display this alert window, and then you'll say what? Return. Then what do you do it? You'll say return. No. Case sensitive only, because we are checking with the in which letters? Small letters or capital letters? Small letters. The name must be in which letters? Small letters only, because we are checking with the small letters, right? Okay, we are checking with the small letters, and it should be in small letters only, right? Okay. So I said return. Okay. Yes. So yeah. Now we will try to see some more form validations. How to do validations by using JavaScript. Tomorrow we'll see more on this, like how to check the validations using JavaScript, because this is very important. Okay. So we'll take one application and we'll do all the validations, right? But today we'll stop here, and tomorrow we'll